House gang for life. Word to the pig on Royce's hand. One statement that was said a million times throughout this little back and forth between members of arguably one of the greatest groups of all time to never make it is this shit is nasty. It really is. With the two halves now of Slaughterhouse going at each other publicly in a manner that is just, I suppose as fans, we wanted to know what was going on behind the scenes while we couldn't get what we wanted so much. But at the same time, it's like, at least speaking for myself, I didn't want it like this. And to be honest, I was already kind of able to surmise just from the clues being left here and there what really went on anyway. I mean, none of the members of the group, including the fifth member, us, the fans, have any problem being vocal about how they feel, at least as far as I can tell. And so I was able to kind of pretty much piece together what was going on anyway. But I mean, as big a fan as I am of all four members individually and what they was able to accomplish as a super group, I just don't want to see the nastiness. I don't think anybody's lying, to be clear. I don't know these dudes personally or nothing like that, but I have met them and spoken with them one time. It's many years ago. It was during the beginning craze of Slaughterhouse. They were touring. They were in a city that I was in at the time. I had a little bit of juice, and so I was in there. I sat and had a long conversation with Joell. I really don't think Joell is lying on anybody, in my personal opinion. That's the most genuine dude, like genuine to a fault. Me and some other homies that I had with me at the time who was, you know what I'm saying, at least well-versed in what's public about the industry, we was asking him some questions, and his answers were just painfully genuine, like genuine to the point where it's like, damn, bruh, this industry gonna try to chew you up, bruh. You a genuine ass individual. That's my initial thoughts on Joell, like just genuine to a fault. And so I really don't think Joell lying. My opinion of Royce, Royce is just a really, really, really fucking smart dude that knows and has known probably longer than all of these dudes how to play the game. That said, he a genuine individual as well, you know what I'm saying? But shrewd, incredibly shrewd at the same time, and incredibly well-versed. And that's just the example of a dude who loves hip-hop, smart as fuck, could probably get over doing whatever he chose to do, you know what I'm saying? And just knows how to step correctly in most situations, particularly involving the hip-hop industry. You know what I'm saying? Joe knows how to play the game as well. I mean, but here's the thing. And Joe Budden is one of my favorite MCs of all time. Like, in my top 3. You know what I'm saying? Because he's so introspective and because he's so vocal and so vulnerable about what's in his head for real. At the same time, Joe knows how to play the game. And so my take on the static between the two halves is you got Royce and Joe on one side. They know how to play the game. Like, beyond being dope MCs, beyond the art, beyond wanting to put together something that the industry has possibly never seen before or only caught glimpses of, Joe and Royce know how to play the game. As to where when Slaughterhouse was getting together, Joell, we as an audience were really just kind of discovering Joell Ortiz and coming around to acknowledging that he's one of the dopest MCs in the game. And we were at the same time rediscovering Crooked Eye as someone who'd been in the game and seems like didn't get his just due, and made several attempts over the years. And at the time when Slaughterhouse was coming together, we were really rediscovering Crooked I with Circle of Bosses and the just outright fucking meteor storm of dope ass mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? I was picking them joints up for a while. It seemed like every week I was getting 1 or 2 new Crooked I mixtapes. You know what I'm saying? And it got almost exclusive play in the ride during that time. And at the same time, Joe had been, let's not say to the mountaintop, but had experienced commercial success and saw how snaky it gets behind them office doors and was not keen on getting into that again. Royce had been in the game and to some extent getting his praise as a top tier MC and being attached to someone who is, I mean, like it or not, a legend now in the game. You know what I'm saying? Like Joe and Royce, they know how to play the game. But let me back up. So Joell, most genuine dude ever. Crooked, maybe a little jaded, but someone who MCing is in his heart so much that I don't think it'd be possible for him to spit something that was any less than amazing. Like just a true ass MC through and through to the heart. And then you got Joe and Royce, dope MCs, real fucking smart dudes that just know how to play the game. And I really think a lot of the division, we know now that a lot of this shit cracked off because there was a deal on the table to get, or excuse me, let me back up again. Rewind. You know what I'm saying? It's the thing about a dope song. You got to rewind a couple times to catch everything. But anyway, so obviously the deal wasn't ideal with Shady Records. That much has been made clear. You know what I'm saying? And then after the whole Joe saying, I'm not going to rap anymore on Shady, and then them taking them this long to get, you know what I'm saying, to be able to pull away to where they could rap without being on Shady, because you know how them deals go. Apparently Crooked I brought something to the table, and there was questions as to what intellectual property would have to be given up in exchange for whatever, you know what I'm saying, advanced money was coming. I could see right away, just from my first impressions of meeting these dudes, Joe was gonna have some issue with that. You know what I'm saying? When I met Joe Budden, he the type of dude that you gotta give him a reason. Like, you gotta give him a reason to wanna be in close proximity to you. Like a compelling reason. He not a what up my guy type of dude. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of how bubbly he might come off on the podcast, which I love as well, Joe ain't strike me as the type of dude that's just gonna walk up and give you that to say what up just to be saying what up. You know what I'm saying? When I met him, I had to say something meaningful enough to get him to come up and walk over and even acknowledge that I was talking to him. And once I did, it was all cool. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, granted, he's not a very personable kind of guy. And from what I can tell, you can see that in his music, and you can see that in how he interacts with people who are very close to him and have been very close to him for a very long time. You know what I'm saying? Looking at the dynamic between him and the other members of his podcast, both groups, you can see that Joe is not a very social kind of guy. And you can relate that to whatever mental issues you want to try to relate it to. I can relate to it from a personal standpoint. It's been plenty of times where I've been in the midst of a rockin' ass party, sometimes even a party thrown in my name, and I feel separate. You know what I'm saying? And so I understand that. But Joe knows how to play the game. And so if a deal comes through, he's not looking at, okay, we get this money, let's do it. He's looking at, what do we got to give up for this money? Because he's not the type of person to give of himself in any manner that's not strictly on his own terms. And you can get that from listening to his music. You can get that from looking at how he interacts with people on the podcast. You can get that from just paying attention to how he interacts with people generally. You know what I'm saying? And Royce, just really a calculating ass dude. It seems that way. He's very, very calculated. Very, very calculated. The type of dude that I would guess he's dope as an MC, not just because he loves MCing, but he's just dope as an MC because he's fucking smart enough to be able to put words together in any kind of way he might ever want to. And how could you not be dope as an MC when you that type of a linguist? You know what I'm saying? Crooked I struck me as just a dude who been in the game and never really got his praise that he deserved. And so you'll catch him throwing out fucking seem like 30 songs a day. You know what I'm saying? All of them just back-to-back dopeness. You know what I'm saying? That level of love for the game, and at the same time, you know what I'm saying, never really being acknowledged as someone who was about that shit to the degree that you about that shit. You know what I'm saying? And when I met him, it just seemed like just cool, just happy to be in the presence of somebody that admired what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? Crooked I strike me as the type of person that no matter how many millions of fans he got, if he's talking to one at that moment, the most important fan is the fan he's talking to at that moment. And all four of these dudes came off to me as incredibly genuine. And if you listen to their music, you can see it in the music. You know what I'm saying? These are four MCs who are not afraid to be vulnerable in their art. And that's something that, in my personal opinion, I don't want to listen to your music if you're not giving me a piece of yourself in the music. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't think that these dudes are lying on each other. You know what I'm saying? And just like we as fans hold the celebrities we admire to a higher standard, we forget that they also hold themselves and each other to a higher standard. And I don't feel like either side is giving the other side the acknowledgement that they're all human, and human perspective is a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It's almost impossible to get two people to see a thing the same way, let alone four, plus all the other jobs that surround bringing forth a collective like this. You know what I'm saying? It's not just, it can never ever just be four people involved. You feel me? It's got to be four people and fucking everybody else that it takes to bring this piece of art to market. You feel me? And if it's that hard just to get two people to see eye to eye on any subject, it could be even a subject that on the surface they agree. But to truly see eye to eye, that's just not really easy for human beings. And I don't feel like either side is giving themselves the acknowledgement, the space that, hey, damn, we're all human. We're not all going to see things the exact same way. That doesn't mean y'all are lying on us or that we're lying on you. It just means our perspectives were different. Because if you listen to the story on one side and then you listen to the story on the other side, the same building blocks are there on both sides. Neither side can outright say they're lying about this specific thing. This happened this way and you said it happened that way. Like, the same fucking bones of the story are there on both sides. They're arguing perspectives, and it's because, like us fans, they hold each other to a higher standard, which is understandable. You know what I'm saying? You kind of have to be able to continually be in the public eye and survive under that white hot light and not fucking melt down. We see how celebrities melt the fuck down. It's not because there's something that's wrong with them that's not wrong with the rest of us. It's that motherfuckers ain't looking at the rest of us through a microscope. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then on top of that, it's a super group. Pardon me, I took a few notes. I'm going all over the place because I'm passionate about this, but I did take a few notes, and I meant to touch on the concept of the hip hop supergroup. a la Horseman. I mean, we had super groups before that, obviously, in hip hop, but in this vein, you got Horseman, because I want to say, at least me and my group, you know what I'm saying? Horseman stirred me up in the same way that years later, Slaughterhouse stirred me up. You know what I'm saying? 4 MCs that I was already a fan of, specifically for accelerated talent at MCing. You know what I'm saying? Getting together and forming a collective. Like Joel said, they called us Voltron. Shit, they called the Horsemen Voltron before. Excuse me. Because it was that unheard of. Because you get groups of dope MCs. You know what I'm saying? But to take arguably one of the doper MCs from each group and put them all together, or one of the doper solo artists that you maybe wanted to hear, like with another person of their caliber, just and them clicking up like that, oh, shit stirred me up both times. You know what I'm saying? And Horsemen didn't do as much as we wanted them to do as fans, put it that way. I don't think there was any meltdown with the Horsemen, or at least not that was made public or that I'm aware of. But they didn't do what we wanted them to do in terms of giving us a lot of this product. You know what I'm saying? A situation where demand exceeded supply. And in the same vein, I think with Slaughterhouse, demand exceeded supply. But in this age where it's happening, we got a chance to actually be shown behind the curtain and see what was really going on. And I guess we really got to be appreciative of that, regardless of how nasty the reveal really is. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Horseman, by the way, that they did release another album not too long ago, and I did bang that shit and will continue to bang that shit, because again, the idea of a supergroup in hip hop is personal to me. You know what I'm saying? I gave it a shot myself. You know what I'm saying? As an MC, as a kind of middle way through my journey into MCing. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, if y'all knew me before or you know me now, you know I'm a Shank. You know what I'm saying? Out of Shank came Golden SHANK in the late 90s. You know what I'm saying? Which was my group, my heart. You know what I'm saying? Me, Shank Low, Pocket Knife, Bladerunna. You know what I'm saying? Golden SHANK. Again, demand was high, relatively speaking. Obviously, we weren't famous, and supply was low because we couldn't really get together as a collective and put forth a cohesive product. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere throughout me doing my solo thing, right, I was approached with the proposition to become a member of, in the vein of Horseman and Slaughterhouse, a supergroup. This was after Horseman, before Slaughterhouse. You know what I'm saying? 2 members of one of my favorite underground groups of all time, Ill Culture, stepped to me, came to my mama's house. This is why I could really relate, because like you could tell by even how these dudes talk to each other. I'm going off on a tangent. When they mad at each other, that this is genuine love there. They brothers. They get down for more than just reasons that they all dope MCs. They actually are friends. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it was like. Like 2 members of Ill Culture came to my mama house to talk to me. You know what I'm saying? That's how welcome these dudes are in my heart and in my life. They came to my mother's house to talk to me, and we sat down and they said, yo, we want to do this. We want to do this. You know what I'm saying? And at the time I was working with another very, very talented solo artist. You know what I'm saying? And we were doing some collab things, not group thing, but some collab things. You know what I'm saying? And we were connected to, through friends, through another dope solo artist. And they stepped to me like, yo, we want to do this super group. It was going to be 5 of us. And so obviously everybody was on it. You know what I'm saying? How could we not be? Just the idea of it stirred us up as much as the artists involved, as I'm sure it did people who knew of us as soloists or members of other groups. You know what I'm saying? You got arguably the most active, if not the dopest MCs of each collective and where these collectives are already respected in their various regions, you know what I'm saying? Coming together like, damn, these dudes, like, yo, I can't wait to hear what they say together. Because it's going to be wall-to-wall bars. It's not going to be no, oh, okay, this dude is in the group because he kind of the animated one. It is no Flavor Flav. Shout out to Flav. I don't mean that as a slight, but you feel what I'm saying. It is no Flavor Flav in this group. It's 4 Chuck D's or 5 Chuck D's. Just wall-to-wall content, you know what I'm saying? No fluff, no filler, no big-ass clock. Just fight the motherfucking power. You know what I'm saying? And that can be appreciated by the purists in the game, by the purist fans who don't need the extra floss and flash to get hip to a group, who really just want the meat. You know what I'm saying? Fuck the side dishes. You feel me? And so we got together and immediately we started writing songs. And it was easy because you heard your brother's verse and it's like, oh, you coming like that? All right, so I'm going to come like this. Boom, boom, boom. And it was wall-to-wall bars. When we started rocking shows, it's like we didn't even have to promote that shit. Motherfuckers just showed up like, oh, it's these niggas together? I'm there. How much did the ticket cost? You know what I'm saying? And I hate to say, I may have been the Joe Budden of the demise of that group. Because I was the one, outside the show, cussing out the headlining act. Because I felt like we should have been getting more money for what we was doing as the doper collective. You know what I'm saying? As the people who are bringing most of this audience to this little show and most of the audience leaving with us after we go off the stage. You know what I'm saying? I felt like the money wasn't right. You know what I'm saying? For what we were bringing to the table. And at the same time, when you have different minds, different collectives, different lives, it sometimes was hard for us to get together and get in the studio, all of us at once, and put together a song that sounds cohesive versus just 5 MCs who wrote some shit on their own time and decided to put it all on one beat. You feel me? That was difficult. And our super group kind of fell by the wayside when I left. I didn't leave the group. I physically left town. I left proximity to where it made it even harder for all of us to get together and put something out. You know what I'm saying? So we only got as far as an EP, and that was 15 years ago. And people still be in my inbox like, yeah, bro, the shit you doing is nice, but when you was with ALLPRO, that meant something. You feel me? 15 years later, and we ain't been a peep from us. We all been doing our things as individuals and not even mentioning ALLPRO in our solo careers. You know what I'm saying? I've dropped something. Mike has gone on to receive notoriety in an entirely different space. You know what I'm saying? Rel went on to become a wildly successful solo artist. You know what I'm saying? Breez doing his thing like in an entirely different industry sector as well. Like we've been doing our own thing and hasn't been any mention of ALLPRO. And still to this day, people be in my inbox like, yo, if y'all did some ALLPRO shit, you know what I'm saying? So I know how it feels. And I know how it feels from different perspectives, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been a fan of each of the 4 of these individuals as individuals, and I've been a fan of them as a supergroup, and I've been a fan of the supergroup that arguably is their predecessors. And I've been a member of a supergroup largely in the same vein, and the same challenges have presented themselves in each situation to my knowledge. They certainly presented themselves in mine. You know what I'm saying? And when you got 4 individuals because here's the thing about dope MCs, there's not a lot of fake dope MCs. Let's put it that way. You know what I'm saying? It's not a lot of fake dope MCs because people who have that degree of command over the English language to where they can be dope MCs to begin with. You don't come by that in anything other than a genuine way. And so if you're not a genuine person, chances are you're not going to be the type of person to take the steps to bring forth lyricism in that manner. You know what I'm saying? Don't get me wrong. It's some fake ass individuals out there in the industry who just happen to be able to rap pretty good. But it's not a lot of fake motherfuckers who get to that level of MCing and that level of being able to express themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because in my opinion, at the core of being quote unquote real is the ability to express yourself and your feelings effectively. And if you can do that, chances are it's something that you do in your personal life as well as in the music. And so that's what I mean by it. There's not a lot of fake dope MCs. So I don't think either side is lying on the other. You know what I'm saying? But I also think that neither side is giving the other credit enough or the acknowledgement that they are all human beings with different perspectives on the same situation. Because the situation itself seems clear. You know what I'm saying? At least from what I can see. And maybe you could say I've got a little bit different than an outside looking in perspective. Maybe I have something more akin to a bird's eye view, if I may be so bold. But that's what I get out of it. And at the end of the day, regardless of what happens between them, what's said back and forth, how nasty it gets, even if it gets to the point where these dudes got real beef, which I don't think is actually going to happen and I would hate to see, but even if it got to that point, I'm going to remain a genuine fan of all of them. And if we never get another Slaughterhouse project again, that's okay with me because I understand why it's not there. I'll continue to be a fan of Crooked with his relentless bar game. I'll continue to be a fan of Joell Ortiz as one of the most clever MCs in the game. Just blisteringly clever with his wordplay. I love it. I'll continue to be a fan of Royce the 5'9" as one of the long-standing titans of MCing. You know what I'm saying? I'll continue to be a fan of Joe Budden as someone who made songs, albums, whole albums, to where when I listen to it's like, damn, like the most introspective, the most vulnerable, the most expressive of MCs. You know what I'm saying? That's why Joe is one of my favorites as an MC, because I feel like I'm inside the song when I'm listening to it, and a lot of it I can relate to so much as a person who's maybe a little standoffish socially myself, but at the same time able to express my feelings and my thoughts effectively to the extent that I'm still able to put myself out there, even though on the inside I might not feel like I really want to be out there. You know what I'm saying? And I'm a fan of the podcast. I was a fan of the podcast with Rory and Maul. I'm a fan of the podcast with Ice and Ish. And it's because not only do I love the dynamic, and I love the idea of people who are genuinely friends just having discussions, but in a manner that's polished for public consumption and being able to really go into, you know what I'm saying, the discussion and really just feel like you right there, you know what I'm saying, either agreeing or disagreeing. I enjoy that. I enjoy the introspectiveness. I enjoy the banter. I enjoy the back and forth between friends. I enjoy the relatability, and I also enjoy the fact that they're knowledgeable and experienced enough to make it polished for public consumption. I enjoy that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to remain a fan of all four of these dudes and whatever they do, whether it's as Slaughterhouse or whether it's as Joell, Joey, Royce, and Crooked. Separate together. If it's Joell and Crooked, if it's Royce and Joe, or if it's any other combination of the four, I'm still going to fuck with it.